Hello, hello. Hopefully I am live. Oh, good evening from Cologne, Valerie. Lovely to see you again. You've been on a few of these. It's been lovely to see people. Oh gosh, I've done it again.
Hopefully
Bear
I
with.
am live. Oh, good evening.
Every time I just forget that I have YouTube open on another window and I forget to mute it. So it always sounds a bit weird. So hi and welcome to April's sketching evening. So what we are going to do today, I thought we'd do something a little bit different. Hello, Vanessa. So I'm going to do some, and happy Thursday to you too, Andrew. And there's people from all over. This is wonderful. So I'm going to do something really, well, actually, I was going to say difficult. It's typically me. And those of you who know me know this is a sort of stupid thing that I do, because I thought, wouldn't it be fun to do a sketch as if you were sat in, sorry, I'm busy opening these, as if you were sat in a cafe and you've forgotten your paints. I know, it would never happen, would it? Let's face it. But what if it did? So, evening, Karen, hello. But what if it did? What if all you had was, this is the little packet I was contemplating going to a cafe and lifting a stirrer, but that's a bit mean really, isn't it? I'm not really into that sort of thing. And I didn't have time to actually sit down and get a coffee. So I bought some coffee stirrers. So these are little wooden coffee stirrers. I have some coffee. So this is going to be a little interesting because I have never drawn and painted with coffee before. I know it is possible. I know lots of people do it, and it's something that if, like I say, you're stuck in a cafe, you've got nothing apart from the coffee in front of you, you can still create some art. So I'm assuming I'm going to be drinking espresso, which, to be fair, I do, or a black coffee, because I haven't got any milk and I'm thinking black coffee is probably better. I was going to put this in a delicate little saucer. Could I find a delicate little saucer? No. And then I thought one of those little palette things, and I can show you all the various strengths of coffee, because I think that might be the key. Could I find one of those? No. So I have a plate. I have a sachet of coffee. I have a stirrer. I have kitchen towel. Now I know I have said what happens if you're just sat in a cafe. Well, and you've forgotten all paints and things like that. You are going to have a napkin. So I figured this kitchen towel is still okay, because what we can do with this is lift off some of the coffee. That's the theory. It's a wonderful theory, isn't it? I have literally no idea what I'm doing with this. It's going to be a fun thing for us all. So what I also have in let me switch my camera over actually. Boop, that's my little paper that I have set up. I've done an extra big paper so that I can do any little practices on the side. But what I have, you can see over here, is a croissant. Let me put my little circle camera on, then I can talk to you. So I have a croissant in the corner because I'm in France and we do like our croissants here. And so I thought that would be really nice. I had intended on getting a little mini one because you can get little cute mini ones. And I thought that would be adorable as a light snack, but they didn't have any little mini ones. So gosh darn it, I just had to buy a big fat croissant, which I am going to totally eat after this little exercise. So there's my croissant. I took a picture of the croissant so that you can see what I am looking at. And as you can see, that is exactly what I'm looking at. So I'm going to move my camera back to my paper. I'm hoping this is, I seem to be blinding myself. Let me move my lights down so they're actually on my paper and not over my face. Hopefully you can see that, and it should be reasonably in focus. Let me put my label on there. Yeah, it's kind of in focus. Right, So how am I going to do this? Genuinely no clue. So I'm going to just move my camera down a bit so that you can see what I'm going to do on my plate first with my coffee. So what I'm going to do is I have a Nescafe. Obviously other coffee brands are available. It's just I happen to have these when we went on holiday. I bought, I can't even open these, this is terrible, isn't it? I bought a whole pile of these to take with us on the journey so that we can make a brew wherever we happen to be. So I'm going to put my coffee granules down. I have rather a lot of coffee granules. Gosh, there is a lot. So I'm going to, I think, put 3 piles of coffee granules. So that's 1 teaspoon of coffee. Now I'm going to wet it a little bit because if you're in the cafe, you would probably already have wet coffee. You wouldn't be diluting coffee granules. I kind of hope this works. Genuinely no idea, you know. So I'm going to put on this little bit, I'm going to put a fair amount of water in there. And I'm going to give it a little stir with my spoon, well, you know, my coffee stick. Do you know, it smells gorgeous. And so I've got kind of a coffee paste. So what I think is going to happen, do you know, I love these things. Any normal artist will, of course, done one of these before this live stream and would be totally prepared and be able to talk with huge authority about what happens. But I'm not one of those people. I just thought it would be a really cool idea, so I thought I'd just do it, you know, because why not? So we're all going to learn together. And like I say, I know it's possible, and I know that lots of dyes, for example, you get some beautiful dyes from, oh, hi Hazel from Stony. Oh, that's lovely to see you here. Hazel was at a couple of the courses I ran in the UK while I was over there last week and the week before. So, and she actually has, I believe this is the right Hazel, there were many Hazels. You might or may not be the Hazel that won the croissant little mini painting. Can't remember. If not, don't worry, we're about to create a new one. So I've now got my coffee stick covered in coffee. Kind of looks like it's got a globule on the end. I'm going to use my napkin just to wipe the globule off. Okay, I now have some coffee. It's nicely mixed in. And I'm going to put my camera back up to my paper. Ooh, this is interesting. Hopefully that's still in focus. Right, I'm going to mark out, as I always do, a little, correct Hazel, woohoo! I hope you're enjoying your little croissant mini. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out, as I would normally, an idea of where my painting is going to be. Ooh, it's a bit interesting, this. This is really quite fun. So I'm just going to do a square picture frame. So I am already seeing how this coffee works. So I'm putting it on with the flat of my stick now, because that seems to give a nice big broad range. Do you know, this would be really good done in almost like a Chinese ink. It has that kind of feel to it. It's quite nice. If I wasn't doing just coffee, I would potentially add touches of gouache and red to this. This would be quite fun. So I'm going to start as I normally start. So when you're sketching, starting is the hardest, really, isn't it? So I start by just looking at my basic shape. So my basic shape for this croissant, now my croissant is going to look slightly different to the one in the picture that you're seeing, simply because the angle I'm looking at it is the same croissant. It is in front of me, but I'm probably slightly higher than where I took the photo from. So I've got basically, gosh, this is really quite difficult. I'm using paint on paper, by the way, because it's good for water stuff. And it's kind of almost like an L shape. So I'm just basically doing a rough shape as I would normally. I'm not changing the method of how I'm sketching. I'm simply changing the medium. And that's the fun thing about sketchbooks. Sketching is all about playing. Your sketchbook is your playground. It is not for finished stuff, although if you want to publish it and make it all beautiful, absolutely, that's lovely. But it's essentially for experimenting. And this, I feel, is a fabulous little experiment. All about, you know, what happens if. What happens if I've been to the cafe, I don't have any paints, and I really want to draw something, and all I have got in front of me is my espresso? What do I do? Can I still paint? Well, the answer is obviously yes, although it's tricky. And it's probably not going to look as good as the lovely croissant that Hazel has in her home. But that doesn't matter, because this is fun. So I'm now going to just do a rough idea of where my... You see, it's going to be a bit like watercolour painting, of which I am rubbish at, because we're going to have to leave the paper as our highlights or wet it. Do you know, I genuinely don't know how permanent coffee is on paper. Guess we're going to find out. Because you could, in theory, if it's still wet, take a bit of the coffee out with your kitchen towel or napkin if you're in the cafe. So if I'll see what I mean. Ooh, that's a nice splash. If I put some coffee down here, you really don't need very much coffee either. What I can do is I can probably carve out with my napkin some interesting shapes. Ooh, ooh. See, it's all about discovery. So I'm just going to do what I discovered there, and I'm going to glaze my coffee over this bit. And this is, again, same as we do with everything. Oh, do you know, I might end up drawing this with my napkin rather than my coffee spoon thing. I'm going to dip my napkin in my coffee, dipped in coffee, and I'm just going to create the background colour over. Oh, it's looking a bit croissant shaped. Now we've got a shadow area. If we squint, so this is the other thing you can do. If you squint, you can see where your shadow shapes are. Do you know what I'm doing now? Now I ought to put this camera down and see what I'm doing. I've got my napkin and I'm dabbing it directly in granules. Don't know if this will work. Let's find out. My shadow area is kind of in the back here. So you can see it better on the photo than I can see in real life actually. But this bit here is kind of in shadow. So I'm just wondering if I can add, oh no, that doesn't work. Right, dipping your napkin in coffee granules while they're still granules doesn't work for then putting it onto the paper. Although I suspect if I just put some on, these granules are quite tough. I bet if I squidged them down and made it more into a powder. I'm now squidging the coffee granules with my fingers. This is what's so fun about experimenting. And then tried it with my napkin again, maybe with a clean bit of my napkin. Dipping it in coffee to get the water to be able to pick up. So now that's a bit finer. Does that go on better? No. That's fine. So I'm going to go back to my coffee that's on my plate. Probably mixing it with hot water is going to be easier as well, but I haven't got any hot water handy. So I'm going to go back to my coffee on my stick. I'm going to get rid of that granule. Oops. Because that's quite in the way. I'm getting coffee everywhere here. We all knew that would happen. And I'm just going to build up like I would normally. I'm going to look at where are my shadow shapes, and I'm going to add another layer of coffee onto where my shadow shape is. I spent all the other week doing so much talking that I think my voice is nearly given out, much to the delight of all my family here. Right, let's put some more coffee on. So I'm now darkening the coffee. How I'm darkening the coffee, as you can see by my stick has now got globules on it again, is I'm adding a bit more of these coffee granules, the ones I smushed, to this water here, so that I've got almost like a coffee, I'm trying to get a coffee paste think double espresso, or what's that lovely Turkish coffee? Oh, that stuff's great. You can literally stand a spoon up in it. So I can see you all now going out to coffee shops, ordering espressos in a variety of strengths, pouring little bits out onto your saucer. The great thing is, look how much I'm needing. So little. This is the rest of that teaspoon of coffee. You need so little coffee to do this that you can absolutely order a lovely coffee. In fact, you could order an allongé, which is a long black coffee, with a side of milk if you don't like your coffee black. And then just tip a little bit of the coffee on your plate, play with that, add the milk into the coffee that's left. You've got a nice beverage while you paint. Right, let me come back to my croissant. Here we go. I'm going to add this new coffee onto the top. I think what I'm going to have to do is leave parts of it to dry while it's really difficult using this coffee spoon thing. But it is good for getting those lines in, to be fair. It's really nice for giving that illusion of shadow in the layering of this croissant. Is anyone else having a go with coffee, by the way? Or is it just me? Only I'm foolish enough to do this thing. The great thing with the lack of control as well is it's giving that nice uneven sort of edge. I'm going to have to cleaning off my stick thing. It's got very sticky with coffee granules. Start again. It's quite scrappy, this, but it is quite interesting. And again, just doing as I would normally, as if it was a pen, or if it was I'm going to go back to the more liquid stuff, just put over the top. If it was an ink, you'd put an ink wash on. You'd put one wash on, then you'd leave it to dry, and then you'd put another layer on just to darken. That's kind of the same process we're doing here. And we're just kind of playing with how it looks. Like I say, it's the best smelling drawing ever. If you could have a drawing that has a smell-a-thon, it'd be awesome. We're starting to get... Yes, coffee here, says Hazel. Fabulous, fabulous. I'd love to find out how it's going. I'm using green powder. Ooh, that you usually put in your smoothies. Oh, Karen, that's an excellent idea. Ooh, do you know, you could get some macarons and do something colourful with that, couldn't you? Especially if you had some, like a beetroot powder as well. That would be just amazing. You could really go to town with this sort of idea. And you know, I'm actually, even though I'm sort of semi-complaining about this stick, because it is quite difficult to control, like as in completely difficult. It's like the herding cats of painting. It is actually quite fun because you have so little control and you're getting these really cool kind of marks, which is actually really quite nice. You're getting that kind of round feeling to it. We've got another dark bit over here, so I'm going to put that over there. Add some more coffee to my mixture because I've got some dark areas here. I'm just kind of going to almost layer on. Valerie said, I've dissolved hot water and granules. I'm using a twig as my toothpick was too small. That's good. It does smell good, doesn't it, Valerie? I have to say. I think I should have used hot water rather than cold. It's definitely not dissolving as well with cold waters. Chopstick is your tool, Karen. Wow, we've got some really fun things going on here. That's amazing. I love it when you embrace just using different things and just doing something a little bit wacky. It kind of, you can't be too precise, you can't be too precious. It really brings home that whole, you know, what can we do? Let's play, let's experiment, let's have fun. Because sketching is all about having fun. I think what I want to do is, this area is quite light, but there are some highlights in there too. So I'm going to maybe have a go with my napkin again, finding a clean bit of my napkin. And I'm just going to gently pull down some of these marks and just smooth some of them out. I'm going to go back in and do some more. Oh, it's interesting because this bit's dried quite well. I'm going to go in and do some more. Hazel's using a lollipop stick. Oh, gosh, I've just snapped my little stick. Thankfully, I have a whole packet of them and it's kind of splashed. Actually, I quite like the splashes. I might do some splashes later. I'm thinking about how I can make a highlight because there's some really dark areas of this and there's also some really nice highlights. But how we can make those highlights come in. I'm kind of thinking as I'm randomly painting as to how I can do that. Again, this is what happens when you get, I think I prefer the pattern on my plate over the paper. Yeah, the paper is really tricky, isn't it? You'll have to take a picture of the pattern on your plate and then have a go at creating something with the pattern on your plate. That would be fun. I'm just keeping on going over this. I want to try and get some. Oh, actually, no, you can scrape back into it with the edge of the stick. Oh, that's interesting. So I can create some of that lamination mark that's happening on my croissant. I wonder if you can go into. You can. Ooh. You can carve into the stuff that's kind of semi-dry. There's a lovely bit here that's got a highlight on and it's quite dark and there's laminations of delicious croissant which will be eaten very soon. When I say very soon, in approximately half an hour. I'm wondering as well how I can create some sort of shadow off my croissant. And I'm keeping this quite light down here. We do have some dark bits heading down there. Again, it's squinting and looking because what you're wanting is to look at where your contrasts are. And it's the contrasts that make a painting. So our eyes are naturally drawn to light areas and dark areas. Light areas and contrasting areas, sorry. So like in a portrait, your eyes are always drawn, usually, not always, usually drawn to the face, but then also to light areas. So you tend to have kind of a dark background next to something light, and that contrast as well as the light will really bring your eye to that area of that you want to focus on. So it's quite useful to think about that even in your sketching and just look at it and go, well, this is fun. How can I use this technique? What can I do to really bring some contrast to make it look more interesting? So I think I've got lights and darks. It's beginning to look kind of like a bit of a, it's a bit of a sticky croissant-y thing. It is quite interesting because you don't have any other colours available. We just have what we've got, our coffee. Because I'm wondering, there's a nice shading over here. So I'm thinking what I might do with my napkin is I'm going to dip my napkin in the lightest area of the coffee, as in the coffee that's the most water attached to it. And I'm just going to draw out my shadow with my napkin and just kind of place it over the paper. I'm going to put a bit of darker coffee on and see whether that works. Kind of does. Quite surprised about that. I didn't think that would. But we've kind of got a bit of a shadow in. I do like having a bit of shadow in because then it kind of grounds our picture. I now have coffee everywhere. Honestly, you can't take me anywhere. When I'm painting, I'm covered in paint. Now it seems even if I do coffee, I'm covered in coffee. So what I want to do is I want to have there's a little bit of light happening over here. And I want to, maybe if I spray the paper with some water, this could go horribly wrong. I'm going to do a little spritz. Has that gone there? Yeah, it has. And then what I want to do with, I'm going to have to get a new stirrer. My stirrer's disintegrated. New stirrer. I'm going to pull out some, I want to see if I can pull out some lights now that I've wet the paper, and maybe use a little bit of my napkin to pull out some lighter areas. I wonder if that can happen. And spray my napkin. So my napkin's a little damp. You could dip this in your coffee that you are drinking or tea. And I'm just going to lighten up some areas. So this bit on the top is a little bit lighter. That gives an interesting, that actually looks all right. I've got some really dark areas under there, so I'm going to go in with my stickier coffee. I do wish I'd got some hot water as well, Valerie, to be honest, because it definitely doesn't dissolve as well in the cold. I'm just adding a little bit more water to some more of my coffee granules. I reckon tea would be just as good as well, actually. It's like I say, it's not the easiest thing to do this, but you know, oh gosh, lots of globules on there. Like I say, we learn together. Would I do it again? Actually, I think I probably would. I quite like the effects that this is giving. Also smells way better than oil paint. Probably not as, oh, that's still wet down there. Let me damp that down. Probably not as, oh, actually, I might leave it wet. Archival, maybe, as oil paint. Although, you know, I wonder what, there would have been painting with berries and things in the Stone Ages and all those older times. And in fact, most of our pigments are made from natural plants, etc. I guess it probably wouldn't be archival because it's more that it's dissolvable than anything else. I think that's probably would be more of the issue. I'm kind of liking it. Coffee and croissant. This is the new thing. I'm still thinking though how I can get away with getting a highlight. You know, the really bright bits where the light is really shining. I'm now just playing, getting those, layering in those extra darks. Because as with everything, it's a, you know, a push and pull. Same, we talk about this with gouache as well, don't we? Where it's a, you kind of put a layer on and then add another layer and then wait for that to dry and add another layer and slowly build up. I'm going to spray some water on my napkin because this appears to be the best way to rub out. And I'm just going to rub out a little bit of this. Ooh, let's do it with that hand. top bit here so that I've got a bit more. It goes really weird when you try and rub it out. It's kind of has almost a slimy feel. That's the title, coffee, croissant and coffee. You're absolutely right, Karen. 100%. Love that. It'd be like those, for those of you who are of an age where we can remember, do you remember those scratch and sniff stickers that you used to get? It might just have been me. But the scratch and sniff stickers, I used to love them. I mean, they never smelt like what they were supposed to. The strawberry one was definitely not a strawberry. But this could be your picture version of a scratch and sniff. Andrew, very thick coffee whitener powder for highlights. Oh, Andrew, now then, do I have any? I don't think I do. That would be amazing to try. If anyone has any coffee whitener powder, have a go and let me know whether that works. Because I'm pretty sure I don't have any coffee whitener powder. I'm saying that really loudly because my husband's just walked past the studio. So if he hears me, he might take it upon himself to go and have a little look, but I'm pretty sure we haven't got any. I do most of the shopping, so I'm pretty sure I would know. Right, I'm going to scratch into this a little bit more on the other side, using the other side of my coffee pourer. No, we don't have any coffee whitener. But I'm now absolutely intrigued to figure out if that would work. I really like the fact that you can kind of scrape into the side. Gives a really nice texture. I think this is going to be done though before our hour is up because I think the paper is getting a little bit overloaded. Although I do wonder whether we can do a little coffee splash on it, see whether what that looks like. I'm going to go darker again with my coffee paste underneath a moment. It's looking okay. I do want to get something right back to the white though. I wonder if I wet, don't spray it over the coffee. That could be a bit disastrous, Susan. Right, I've now got a wet stick. I wonder if I can get back to the paper with that. If I just dampen it on, almost scraping it on. Get a little bit of kitchen towel, and whether that will lift it off enough to get it to the white of the paper. But no, it's definitely staining it. I do like the texture that you can get though with this. With the stick, the way you can scrape back, you can layer the coffee on and then really scrape. And then with the napkin, we can get smooth areas, and that gives a really nice contrast. So I'm going to get my napkin again. My napkin's looking decisively used, and I'm just going to smooth, just gently kind of soften a little bit. It's quite sticky, the amount of coffee I've got on there now. But we kind of maybe want to lighten that bit up. I've maybe gone a bit too dark there, so I'm going to spray a little bit of, sprayed the water in the wrong place. Dab a little bit of water. and just gently move that around a bit. That went almost to the white of the paper then. Ha! Interesting. You can almost, let me get a piece of fresh napkin, dunk it in some water. You always have a glass of water when you go for a cafe with your tea and with your coffee. So I think water is allowable in this instance, in this little experiment. Right, let's see if I can, with that, get back to the white. A little bit. The paper is really beginning to complain now. I'm just going to try and do a little bit of back with a bit of coffee, just where we turn under, because we know if we turn under, objects that turn under, they're always slightly darker as they turn around. And we've got this nice kind of just bit under here, which is just turning under, but it's not too dark. I'm kind of thinking I may leave it. I mean, it's not the greatest croissant in the world. However, as a really weird experiment, I kind of like it. I'm wanting to do these laminations now. Now that I'm now looking at my shapes more rather than just playing with the coffee. And I really need to just sort of get my shapes a bit better. Observation, that's what sketching is for. Playing and observing. So I'm now observing the fact that I've completely missed some of the curves round on this croissant. So I'm just going to pop those in. Because it's your picture, so you can do what the heck you want with it. I'll just overcompensated that a little bit, so I'm just going to take that back. And put in some scrapey bits. I love the scrapey bits, I tell you. They are awesome. Is everybody enjoying this bit of an experiment? Something a bit different. Certainly not like our usual sketch-alongs. You can certainly play and mess with all of this. Vanessa says, loving it, excellent. It's certainly different, isn't it? It's certainly a bit fun. Would I do lots of these? Well, I'll do a few actually. I wouldn't mind trying it in that matcha powder, the green stuff, and just seeing what it's like. It is very freeing because you can't, like I say, you can't control it, which is kind of, well, you can't control it as much as you control a brush, etc., which is cool and frustrating at the same time. Actually, while I've got you guys on, I can ask you a question. Because obviously I do these monthly sketch-alongs monthly now. This is a regular thing, first Thursday every month. Great fun, but getting back to paper as a bit wet. Yeah, it is a bit, mine's a bit sort of sticky now. We've all learned something. We certainly have, including me. So every the first Thursday in every month is my sketch along days. So this is where I'll be trying out new things, showing you techniques for sketching that I find useful. Hopefully you will as well. And it's really because you guys are on the call, and I do this in the academy as well. We all chip in as far as what we're wanting to learn, because I'm here for you guys. I love all art. I often say, you can be a cypress tree where you're really into one thing and you're really, really focused, or you can be an oak where you spread your interest into all sorts of things. I'm an oak, definitely an oak. I'm into all sorts of art. I'm kind of wanting to move that round now. So I have a lot of expertise in a lot of different mediums and subjects, and I adore going off and finding things out. So as my academy members know, I'm always off doing various things. We're doing trees this month. Mountains, sorry. And then we're going to do a few different experiments with mountains with some collage effects too, which will be interesting. And it's always good to research old masters as well and see what they've done and all the things. Anyway, because you guys are on, tea wouldn't smell as good. No, it absolutely wouldn't. But it'll still be interesting. Oh, I don't know. Actually, Lapsang Souchong tea, I love that. Kind of has that smoky aroma that's quite pleasant. So you never know. So in the chat, if you have a thing that you would really like to sketch along or have a go at, put it in the chat and I will put those forward for doing in the next sketch along. So the next one is going to be the first Thursday in May, which is the she says, looking quickly at her calendar, I have a feeling it might actually be on my birthday. That would be fun. Oh, it is. Hurrah. So 7th of May is our next sketch along. Do you know, no, that's being a bit, I was there thinking, should we do birthday cake? That would be, that's just, it's just me basically wanting to sketch things I can eat, really, isn't it? But yes, so if you have anything in particular you would like to learn or you would like covered on one of these sketching sessions, let me know, because I will put it on the list of things I would like to do and we can sketch together. I would probably next time maybe sketch something that I've done before rather than doing an absolute experiment on something I've never done. Candles, says Karen. Yes. Candles are interesting because you've got that light, and how do you get them to really kind of glow? And a lot of that is to do with how you do the background and the colours you choose. So doing something like a cool background and then adding that and quite dark, and then having that light in the centre really coming through is quite fun to do. And it's on the birthday theme too, so that could be one for next week. I have not next week, next month. I have a candle lit at the moment because I just love having candles lit. Can't beat a good scented candle, can you? Right, I am now playing with this and it's gradually getting worse. So I'm going to call it a day. I may go and find some coffee whitener to see whether that does work for highlights. If it does, I will let you know if you're on my email list. You can go to, if you're not on my email list, if you go to www.suemelville.com and sign up for my email list, that's where you know when I'm doing workshops and various other things. Also, I will have an experiment with whitener granules, and I will tell you whether or not that works. I really am making a mess of this now, so I need to stop and put my stirrer down. So next month we will probably have a go at candles. They may or may not be in a birthday cake. And what medium would you like to play with? Would you like to have a bit of an experiment? Or would you like to have a think about, because I think if I'm doing sketching, I will often use something like a gouache. I'm going to spray some water on there. A gouache, that can be quite nice. Or pen and ink. But if we're looking at candles and we want that glow, I would probably look at maybe a bit of mixed media, maybe a bit of pen and some gouache over the top, because then you can kind of lighten up. You can do the both. But if you have any particular techniques that you're interested in or mediums that you're interested in, let me know. And I'm always open to playing with new ideas, because it helps me experiment too. And remember, your sketchbook is your place to play. Pencils or pastels, says Karen. Okay. We might have a little play with pastels then. Mainly because pencils, I like pencils, but they don't show up particularly well on a camera. They also take a lot longer to do. So pastels tend to be a bit quicker, and I need to get back into using pastels. Pastel pencils, says Valerie. That's a good medium. Yes, I do have a whole heap of pastel pencils. That covers both things. So, okay. Pastel pencils, candles, 7th of May. If you want lots of tips on sketching and weekly sketching prompts, remember there is this Smart Art Sketching Club, and that gives you by email prompts. Once a month you get a little PDF and a little guide that goes a little bit deeper. It just helps keep things going and gives you ideas, so you don't have that awful thing of, I want to do something, but I really don't know where to start. It just helps. So do have a look at that. It's all on my website. I'm going to disappear off early and release you into the wild, because this coffee smells really great and I appear to have a croissant that is begging to be eaten. Happy Easter, Valerie, or Joyeux Pâques de tout. And I will see you all hopefully in rocks this week. Oh, you got the rocks one. Yay! That's really good, Andrew. I love rocks. I've got so many rocks. I'm glad you had a lovely fun session, Karen. That's really glad. This is what we're here for, having something fun, experimenting, and just playing, because that way you really start to enjoy your art. Right. That's it. I'm going to sign out. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. A lovely, joyous Pâques. And I will see you on the 7th of May for pastel pencils and candles. Bye.